All right. Okay. So, today's video is about where basically I'm going to show you the difference between the standard version and the pro version of the cash flow analyzer. Okay. So let's start off with the standard version. Okay. It's similar but different. There's a lot more features on the pro, but you can still analyze deals with the standard version. Absolutely. So let's just go into this. So I'm going to give you a bird's eye view here. I'm going to bring it out a little bit so you can get a better idea what it is. Okay, so we have three properties you can actually physically analyze at the same time. And then once that information is populated, it'll populate here, property 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom here. So it's pretty much the same thing in terms of red light, green light system, where you're essentially going to put in information in the blue fields only, and then ultimately it will populate here. And if you get 4 greens, it's going to show a good deal and or a bad deal. Okay, so now essentially this is the Canadian version, whereas you're going to have the drop down. So depending on the province that you're in, you're going to select the province. So in case you're in Toronto, this is the Canadian version. Or if you're this is for the rebate. So if you have a first-time home buyer, if none of the people purchasing the property, you select this one. If it's maybe one out of 2 or 3 or whoever's purchasing the property has purchased before, you're going to put half. Or if all people, like everybody has never purchased a property before, and then you're going to select that. So I'll give you an example here. So let's just put in 500,000. I'll give you a hypothetical. We're going to put the 20% down, and we're going to put interest rate of 5%. Okay. So now you only change the stuff in the blue, and or the amortization, it can go 25 or 30 years. Now, if it's under 20%, you cannot go. You will not be able to do an insured deal. So basically, anything lower. So let's say it's 15%. The maximum amount of time they'll refinance your property is 25 years. Okay. So if you do 20 and above, you'll be able to extend that amortization to 30 years, and that's going to reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Okay, so that's essentially the difference there. All right, we're going to go down here. It's income, same kind of thing. You're going to put in how many units, whatever the unit is. You can type into here if you want. It's going to be unit mix. So if you have like 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, it depends. You're just going to type it in there, and then you could just fill in the amounts according to how many units there are in the property. Okay, so again, we only have up to 10 here, but if it's like 20 units, let's say, and then it's going to be maybe 10 1 bedrooms, and maybe 5 3 bedrooms, and so forth. So you just add the information accordingly. Okay, so that's that. Right. Okay, and then income will be populated here. So if we're down here, we're going to move over to the expenses and month, and this is all generated by monthly expenses. Okay, so if the taxes, whatever taxes are, you're going to estimate them here. Sometimes when you analyze a property, they'll indicate the taxes or insurance. More than likely, they don't. So I like to use a 1% rule. So it's going to be 1% of the 500,000, and insurance is 0.0007 times 20 times 500,000 will give you the monthly fee on this. So I'm going to show you in the pro version. We kind of it already does that for you. Okay. Again, you have maintenance fees that's automatically put in because more than likely you're going to need to pay for maintenance unless you live close to the unit and to the property and you're going to do it yourself. Obviously, vacancy management and so forth. Okay, so let's just jump into this. We're going to put in taxes. Let's say, I don't know, this is monthly. Okay, so we're going to put 500. We're going to put in taxes 300, electricity 100, 100, just to give you a hypothetical. Okay, gas 100. All right, so we have $1,100 in terms of income. Sorry, expenses. Our total income, we're going to put in 2,000, and then we're going to put in 1,500. Okay, just to give you an example. Okay, so there you go. So the net operating income is here. the total expenses is here, and this is your net operating income. If you scroll down here, the debt service. This basically means how much it's going to cost you to service this debt. What's your monthly mortgage payment per month? So on per year, you're only going to get about 1,000, just over $1,000. Is it worth it? Probably not. Okay. So that's it. That's the extent of it. Up here, you're going to put in the market cap. So whatever the market cap is, for this is very important in terms of because it analyzes down here if it's a good deal or not. Okay. So right now the market cap is 5%, but according to the information that we just inputted, it's actually the market cap is higher. Sorry, the deal cap is higher than the market cap, and that's what you want. Okay, because that gives you the opportunity to, whenever you want to sell the property, your house, your property is going to be able to sell at a higher deal cap, and that's going to entice investors and people who want to purchase the property. Okay, it just helps appreciate the value of the property. Cash on cash, and this is the monthly profit, and this is roughly the yearly profit. We also have 50% rule, and basically what that means is it's 50%, so it's 1% of the household is $5,000, right? Because it's 500,000 is the sale price of this property, but the rent is got to be 50% of the purchase of the purchase price of the value of this. So it's got to be essentially $2,500 and higher. Okay, it's 50% of the 1%. And we also, if it turns green, it's yes. If it's under, so for example, if this was 2,000, this would be red, and it would say no. And then in this case, this would not be a good deal. Okay, so there's factors involved to determine if it's a good deal or not. And so that's essentially it. Okay, so that's the extent of the standard version. Sometimes that's all you need. If you're doing like 1 to 5 units, this is all you really need, right? And you just can multiply. You have another property. You can add the picture here. You're just going to go to click on the picture. You're going to go insert image, and insert image and cell. So you just find the image wherever you are on the property, and you just insert it into there. Okay, so I'm just going to close that, and it automatically will populate into there. And also address. So it's also helpful to, once you get an address, let me just pull up an example of an address like this one. So we're going to copy this, just take it from the particular unit, and we're going to paste it into here. Okay, so they also have that's a Canadian version, and we also have a US version, and it's essentially the same thing, the US version, but what we do is we remove those the provinces up here in the purchase info area, because it's not applicable, and also with the US properties, you're probably going to have HOA, right? So you can put HOA here, and you can add that as well. Again, there's other spots, there's other fields down here, so you can always add them, whatever whatever another expense that you may encounter, and you just add the amount here, and it will calculate for you. Okay, so again, it's the same thing. You can analyze 3 deals at once. So if you're going on to 50%, get a really bird's eye view. Okay, you have property 1, property 2, and property 3. Okay, so this is essentially it. For the standard version, you can analyze pretty much any deal with this, up to maybe 10 units, something like that, because you want to get into more specifics. And let me show you what that means. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the Pro version. Okay, so this is the Pro version. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view as well. Let's set it out to 50. Now with this one, you're only able to analyze 2 deals. Okay, but there's a lot of interesting features on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up to 75%. So ultimately it's similar. Okay, we have a lot of other features here. Again, you're going to copy and paste the address in here of the property. Oops, you're going to copy and paste the address in here of the property, and again, market cap, number of doors. It will calculate the number of doors here once you put the purchase price amount. So ultimately, this is the same. So this is a Canadian version, so you can obviously pick the province, and I've already explained that. And then you're going to have your down payment. Down payment will show us what's required, and interest rate. Okay, so those are the main things here to start the process. So we are going to have, it's very similar in terms of everything else has been calculated, your closing costs, your land transfer tax, once you add the amount. Okay. So what I'll do is, let me add, we're going to do a hypothetical here. just to show you. Okay, there you go. So let's just eliminate some of this stuff here. We'll start from scratch. Let's say, for example, it's $1 million property. Okay, again, 20% down, 5% interest rate. It automatically calculates everything for you. It even tells you, okay, if I'm in Ontario, I'm in Toronto, let's say, and none of the people are first-time home buyers. Okay, and maybe all the people. See all people. Now, if you look down here, the interest tax, it changes. Okay. We're going to come down here. As you can see, it's a little bit different in terms of the calculations. So I have it spread out more evenly in terms of what the units are, 4, 1, 2, 3, or 4, a bachelor. And you're going to put it in a number here. So let's say, for example, it's 5 bachelors, and the amount per bachelor is $800. It automatically calculates information for you. Okay, it's 2 bedrooms. Let's say you have another 3 2 bedrooms, and it's about 1,200. And let's say 1 3-bedroom. We're just giving a hypothetical. More than likely, it's going to be above 1,500, and automatically the information gets calculated. Okay, so the vacancy, it's kind of, you can set it at whatever you want. Usually it's 5 to 10%. So this basically means the amount that you're going to, like a surplus of money that you're going to use in an event that the property will be vacant, okay, to help you pay those costs. We have additional monthly rent, one-time fees. This is, I'll show you in a second what that means. Again, the 50% rule of still applies here. So now the expenses are a little bit different. So what happens is, like I mentioned in the previous one, it's 1% of the taxes. So automatically, as soon as you put that information in the purchase price amount, it will show up here. It doesn't mean it's added to the expenses, okay? It just means that it's populated here. Now you can use it, because it's a rule of thumb for the taxes and insurance. You can't get away from that. You have to pay this, right? So you can either add it here. So you're just going to go here and add 833 if that's what you want to do. Sometimes what happens is you'll have that information from the listing. You can tell you roughly how much the property taxes are. For example, if you look down here, property taxes is 436. Okay, and then you're just going to add that information, or the home insurance. Again, you don't know, you don't even know if this is accurate, right? So, but usually on a 1% rule, it could be a little bit more than normal, but you're giving yourself a little bit of a little bit of a cushion there in case the expenses are that high. Okay. Again, you don't have to put it in there if you want. Let's just leave that 0. So you're going to go down electric, water, and gas. More than likely, is it landlord paying for this, or is the tenant paying for this? So if the landlord is paying for this, you're going to add that information. So let's say it's $100 or $200 a month for each, whatever it is, you're going to put that in. Okay. General admission, general admin, repairs, waste, utilities, all that kind of stuff. You're just going to add it all here. As you can see, there's a little more expenses. So it's a little bit more, we're able to analyze maybe a higher property with more units on it, even the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 100 units, okay? So we're going to go maintenance is the same. Management, obviously, when you have anything above 5, I would probably, probably get a management company to come in here, and it's going to be 5 to 10%. And I'll show you the rules of thumb in a second here. The rent guarantee is also amazing. I don't have that. We don't have that in the standard version, but this does, and I'll explain to you exactly what it means. Now, in the event that you don't have any of these costs, let's say, for example, you're looking at this, and you go, well, I don't have any information on this. It's a duplex. There's no OM on this. You can't really figure out what it is. So what you're going to do is we're going to be able to just put an estimated expenses. So just to give you a rule of thumb, if the landlord is paying for utilities, electric, gas, heat, right? If they're paying for that, and then you're going to put 50% of the operating income, okay? If they're not, okay, if the tenant is paying for them, and you're going to want to put about 35%. All right, so in this case, we already have 5% from maintenance fees. We're going to add 30%, okay? And it automatically calculates that. So in case you don't have the information, it's always a good rule of thumb. We're going to put in 35% up to 50%, okay? So here, as you can see here, net operating income is 103, and operating expenses is such, and this is your net operating income. Now, you're going to look over here to the right. You're going to have your debt service, cash flow per year. Same thing as the other one, but we also added an additional 5-year cash flow. So this is what you're going to, based off of these numbers, thus far, this is how much you're going to be able to profit in cash flow per after 5 years. Also, after 5-year refi with the Burr method, right? So basically what that means is, you're going to, you're going to after 5 years, you may have the potential of refining the property. So it assesses the amount of the property, the 500,000, and depreciation based off of the income and so forth. And it tells you, okay, this is the projection, let's say 2-3% in 5 years time. This is how much the property will appreciate, and you'll be able to extract, hopefully, potentially 80% of the value. So automatically calculates this for you. So in the event that you want to, let's say 5 years, you want to take the money out of this property and purchase another investment property, okay? So it calculates this for you. This is another great thing here, down here, is what's the property really worth? Because really, I mean, they'll come in and they'll say, okay, the property is $1 million, but is the property really worth $1 million? When it comes to an investment property, the worth of the property is the income that it produces. And you essentially divide that by the market cap. So whatever the market cap is providing, in this area, let's say it's 5%. So the income, essentially the income is a net operating income after expenses divided by that, and it gives you basically, this is what according to this right now, this is what the potential price you could purchase this property for. So they're actually, in this case, they're hypothetical, but we're selling the property for less than $1 million. And the property is valued at roughly at 1.3. So this is actually a pretty good deal. As you can see, it's all green lit up down here, okay? But now let's see if we can increase the cash flow. And this is where something else comes in that's in addition to the standard version, is the cash flow maximizer. There's two ways to increase the cash flow: through increase the income or reduce expenses. So we're going to start off at the top, raise the rent. So in Canada, you're allowed to raise the rents 1.5% in 2022. As of 2023, it's 2.5%. Now it may vary according to province. Or in the States, if you're watching this and it's something to do with the States, again, I don't know what the percentage is in every province. You'd have to investigate that further. But let's just put 2.5%. Once you put 2.5%, you hit enter. Put too much? I put $3. Sorry, 2.5%. Change that to percent. That was we gotta make that adjustment. So it actually rounds it up, which is, I'm not sure why I have to look at that, but it shouldn't round it up. Let's say we'll leave it at 3% for now. But the laundry, so let's say, for example, this particular property could be 10 units and there's a laundry room and there's coin operated laundry. So you're looking anywhere between $1,000 and $3,000 you can generate on laundry. But let's say it's $1,000 to be conservative. Okay, so we put $1,000 in. Now, once I put that information, I hit enter, it automatically adds this, okay, to the cash flow. You don't have to do anything. Parking, okay, let's say it's 10 units and you have 8 parking spots, but you're charging $50 a spot or $100 a spot. Usually it's about $100. So 100 times 7, let's say, so we're looking at 700. Let's say it's seven spaces. It depends on the property. You're going to have to put the information according to the property. Now, this is a really cool thing. This is very popular in the States. It's called a pet fee. And basically, it's usually only for dogs, and because a lot of people have animals, and a lot of people have dogs. So what they do is they offer, you can come in with the dog, because a lot of landlords don't like animals, but in this case, this is another way of generating additional income. So if in this case it's 10 units, hypothetical, right? We're going to put in 10 units. There you go. And the pet fee is, let's say, out of 10, there's 5 dogs. So you're making an additional $500 a month just for having the dog, okay? And you're also going to put a one-time fee of $500 for a deposit fee, so in case the event the dog does something to damage the property. This is a fee that you secure when initially they come in to rent the property, the unit. Then that's when you'll be able to utilize that in the event that the dog does something to it. We have another space here for other. You can add other additional income that you may think that you can generate from this property. Okay, now let's go to reduce expenses. So basically, you click on some of these and you select a couple things. So tenants pay utilities. So right now we don't have the tenants as paying utilities. But we may do it because in this case we put 35%, so we don't have it. But let's say for example this was 45%. With the 5 here, it's 50%. So right now the tenants are paying utilities. Sorry, the landlord is paying utilities because we put in 50% of the expenses. As you can see, the cash flow dropped dramatically, right? So what we can do is we're gonna put in the tenants pay utilities. We're just gonna click on it. That's just to tell us that we've done it, okay? That we're going to do it, so we don't forget, okay? So we're gonna put in utilities. Unfortunately, there's not an ability to automatically do it. You're gonna have to manually do it, okay? So you're gonna hit that, and you're gonna go tenants pay utilities. So now we're gonna drop this down. So it's at 45, and we're gonna drop it down to 30. Okay, so now we're up to 19,000 because we've made the conclusion that the tenant is going to pay utilities. Okay, energy efficient lighting. Sometimes when it's a big building, you have a lot of common areas and there's a lot of lighting, and so that's going to be able to reduce the lighting. So let's say I always put 3 to 5% in there because we're going to actually put in energy efficient lighting, and you see what happened there. Watch. So 3, it's went to 12. So from 19,124, and we just put in 3%, and this is the kind of the cash flow you can make off of saving electricity in the common areas. Okay, lower interest rates. Okay, we're going to click that. We're going to come over here to interest rates down here on the up on the left hand side, and that's we're going to add the down payment. So we have 20%, but let's say it's 30%. What does it look like? Okay, so it went from 20 to 26,000 is the cash flow. So again, that's going to be entirely up to you in terms of what you want as a cash flow and what are you willing to offer in terms of a down payment. If it's 40%, and then obviously it goes up the cash flow. So let's leave it at 30%. Say, okay, we were able to drop down, we're able to put down 300,000 on this particular property. How about increase the down payment? So that's essentially what we did. We increased the down payment. Now, the lower the interest rates, my mistake, the lower interest rates was the first option. And that is basically right here. And you're gonna either lower it or increase it. Right now, it's actually in Canada, it's you can get a fixed rate, 5-year fixed rate for about 4.999, 5%. So really, essentially, we can't really do anything with this. Okay, until the market changes, we'll be able to make the adjustment accordingly. But right now, we just can't. Okay. So that's lower interest rates, and obviously we just did the down payment. So self-maintenance. Let's say, for example, if we look over here in expenses, it's 5%. Okay. So what we're going to do is this: in the event that we're going to be able to do it ourselves, but you're looking at about 10 units, let's say, you don't want to maintain this property by yourself. Okay. You're going to have a management company come in for sure. Okay. So let's say this unit, we're going to put in 5% for management, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to for management and also for maintenance, we're gonna have the 5%. Okay, so we have 30, 40% in expenses. It's pretty reasonable. Okay, so self-maintenance, we are saying no. Okay, self-maintenance. How about management? Yes, we're gonna put in 5%. How about rent guarantee? Now this is pretty cool here. I always recommend this, and you're going to see what I mean. So it's 21. Look at it, 21,275 per year in cash flow. Now, rent guarantee program is basically this is for Canada, okay, and in certain provinces it's applicable, in certain ones it's not. Okay, but let's say for example we're talking about GTA, the main kind of Toronto area or surrounding areas. This will absolutely apply. Okay, so for example, rent guarantee program. So basically what it is, you're going to pay a company, they're going to pay is 5 to 5.5% per unit. And it's basically going to cover all your rent, right? They're going to cover all your rent in the event that there's someone who can't pay their rent, or they refuse to pay the rent, maybe they lost their job or whatever it is. They're going to pay it for you for up to 12 months. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit yes. And you see, it automatically added the 5.5% here to the expenses, as you can see in my cursor. Now, now what happens is, look at it, the cash flow is 15,000, right? But we have to remove the vacancy now because now this rent is guaranteed. So we don't need a vacancy, right? Provided that we pay this monthly fee. So we're going to put a 0 on the vacancy, and it brought it up to 20,000. So again, remember we didn't put in the management fees. up front. So we have to put that in because it's 10 units. If it's, I would say about 2, 3, up to 4 units, 5 units, you should be able to maintain this yourself, right? In the event that you're close to the property. And then how about reduce offer price? So let's go down here. So it's worth 1.3, but they're selling it for 1. This is again hypothetical, right? So maybe that's something we can, in terms of, let's see if we can get it for, I don't know, 900,000, right? You don't know. I mean, again, these are income producing properties. They're not like standard properties where, it's your principal residence and you probably no room for wiggle or negotiation. Usually they're going above and beyond the offer price, the sale price. So in this case, you can negotiate this. Landlords know this. This is very common with landlords. Okay, so 900,000. What did it do for the cash flow? Yeah, it brought it up to 25,000. Okay, we're going to scroll down here. If you have any value adds, let's say you're thinking, okay, this is a really interesting property. Okay, I gotta, and then you reach out to the broker and you start asking questions about the property a little bit more. Okay, the floors need to be done, especially if you see pictures about it. It looks like the floors are all damaged. Let's say like value add is going to be replace floors. Okay, and so that way you get a number, right? And that number might be up here, is going to be estimated cost of repairs. So here in the blue section, you're going to put in, it's going to cost, I don't know, 10,000, right? It's going to cost 10,000 to do the repairs on this. So now you're going to know, okay, this particular property needs to replace the floors. Maybe we have to replace the furnace, whatever. You're just going to type out the information accordingly here. And again, if you look down here, this is very similar to the other one. You have your four green colors, and it'll turn green. If it's not, it'll be red, okay? You can evaluate only 2 properties on this one side by side. And in addition, we have this, which is pretty cool. It's called a VTB, which is a seller financing. So basically that means is that you can essentially, let's say, for example, this particular property was $1 million, right? We brought it down to 900 to see if we can get a better cash flow. But you don't know if they're going to take this amount, right? But let's say it might be interested in a vendor take back or a seller financing. So let's put that $1 million, original $1 million in here as the full amount, and then the vendor take back. We're going to ask this: can you hold back 200,000? Right? So basically, what that means is, and we're going to try and get maybe 2-3%. Let's say 3% on this. Okay. So so what happens is, let's just scroll down here. Let's finish all these fields, and that way I can explain it a little bit further. So the new offer price now is 800,000. Okay, but we're going to go to a bank institution and we're going to try and secure this financing. Now it's not $1 million; it's 800,000, which makes it easier for us to qualify, right? So we're going to put in down payment. We're going to put in 20% because 20% on a 10 unit or more, it's actually going to be 35%. Okay. So let's just put in hypothetical 20%. Let's say we can get away with that. And over here, the mortgage term rate, it's going to be 30 years. Term here and the rate. And the rate is going to be 5%. So there you go. So it figures it out. The first mortgage, you go to a bank, you're going to need $640,000. Because remember, the new price is 800,000, 20% down is 160, and you're left with 640. That's your first mortgage monthly payment is right here. And the second mortgage, well, essentially, it's like a seller vendor take back. It's 200,000. So if you look over here to the left, this is what we agreed that the vendor would hold for you. They become the bank, okay? And this is the rate that whatever you agree with the seller as the rate. Could be higher, it could be lower, you don't know. So this is how much the mortgage is. This is how much the monthly mortgage payment is. And again, this is going to be the cash flow per year. So if we look up here, it actually puts it together, everything, okay? So in right now, it looks like it's not a good deal. It's a bad deal, this particular vendor take back. So again, that's going to be something that you need to play with. Because, for example, we have it 900,000. Remember, that's how initially we did it, but it was selling actually for $1 million. So we said if we can come in with a 900,000 in the event that they agree to that, this is the kind of cash flow we can get. But if not, it's going to be $1 million and the cash flow is going to be less, right? In this case, we tried this scenario to see if we can get a vendor take back on this. And in this case, it's the monthly profit, the cash flow per year is going to be 14,000, but we're in a negative on the monthly. Okay, so let me scroll down here, and this is another really cool couple cool tools. And it's a rent target analysis, and we also have our rules of thumb. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos later to explain that in more detail. And basically, what it is rules of thumb. Once you put the information up top, it automatically calculates it here for you, right here, and it automatically brings in all the cost associated with the expenses on a property. So again, it's 900,000, 10 units. This is how much the gross income on the property is. 1% of the real estate taxes is $750 a month. Insurance is $525. Trash removal, if the electricity, if the owner pays, the gas, water, and sewer. Management fees, again, 5 to 10%. These are all kind of rules of thumbs. You can actually just copy and paste these numbers up into there in case you don't know. And also our 5-year return, in case you what is your offer worth after 5 years, what what could you get potentially? What would be the price if you were to sell in 5 years? And so basically, what is you just change these parameters here. Everything in blue you're going to change, right? So let's say it's the refinancing. It's usually about 80%. Your sales commission, maybe you get a real estate agent will do it for 40%, 4%. And your refi costs, closing costs, all that kind of stuff. These are standard. Some of them are standard. You may be able to get cheaper, but ultimately it calculates everything for you and tells you if what kind of return you might get, and also if you want to refi it in 5 years time. So this is it. This is the actual pro version. As you can see, there's a lot more features involved, especially when you analyze bigger deals, and you have a lot of more intricate things that will actually give you an indication if it's a good deal or not, and what the value might be, and so forth. Okay, plus the additional options down here. So I just wanted to show you briefly the difference between the standard, and which is the standard version is this one, and the pro version. So standard, again, we don't have the maximizer, we don't have the vendor takeback, we don't have any of those things on the bottom there, which is the rules of thumb, the rent analysis, the 5-year projection. We don't have that. Okay, so but again, if you're just looking for analyze simple deals, 1 to 5 units, even up to 10 units, this should do the trick to some extent. And this is actually should be enough. But if you really want to get into it, dig deep into it, and see what you can actually extract from this in terms of how can I increase the cash flow on the property, then the pro version is absolutely going to be it. Okay. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. There's going to be a link in there for my calendar. You can always book a call with me if you have any questions. And hopefully, if you decide that you want to secure this cash analyzer, you can analyze deals from all across the nation in the U.S. and Canada, and you'll be able to see if you found a profitable deal, and hopefully we can secure some real estate. Okay, thanks. Until next time.